try voting. You should hopefully see the live results.
Can we vote multiple times? Kidding.
Hey, Adam, you put a code in the chat, and
Yeah.
Unless people know that to go to Mentimeter, they're
So
not gonna.
yeah, so I guess okay, I don't know if this is visible. Is this visible?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm just gonna suggest that you copy the link from the.
That's a
from the
good point.
window.
Maybe copy the
notes
link and
put
send the
up.
code. Yep. Yeah. That should work. So if some of you guys want to vote, I want to see if it works out in real time.
I've tried, assuming you have to put,
Okay.
okay, I was putting something in.
I just did my vote.
Some
I
of
like
the
it, Adam.
can some of the other folks try it?
I want to try, but I'm not.
So what do we do to make it work? Click the 0? Click
one of the buttons.
the text underneath? I don't see any buttons.
So,
It should.
Adam, in the chat, drop a direct link for everyone. Oh, there it is. It's appeared now. So, David, in the chat, there's a link that says www.menti.com. Click on that, and it'll open a new window for you.
Okay.
Okay, I like it. So it is working, right? And let me try and go to the second question. And this is what I'm not sure about. How do I go to the second question? How do I go to the second question? Okay. Good that I'm doing it now. So do I just go to this and present? This is kind of clunky. Can you guys try this out? So is the transition awkward, or what are you guys seeing?
I think it's kind of fun seeing it
Is it
bounce
working well?
like that.
Okay, cool. So I'll flash this, Andrea, I'll flash this around the 7:56, 7:57 mark, and this will be a good handoff to you to kind of take over and kind of do the whole PR master spiel. Why is it? What are we doing? So on and so forth. And I'll keep the previous one live for starting from like 6:45, or it's already 6:47, huh? So I'll just keep this live.
So it'll be the same link. And do you want me to post it like this, like in the chat to help?
Yeah, so I'm not, how do I access chat? Can I access chat?
You should be able to.
Okay, yeah, I can access chat.
It does hide it. I know when you start sharing your screen, it hides it, but once you click on it again, it should have, but you figured that out.
Yep.
Andrea, I'm leaving Sam in the waiting room for right now.
Okay.
While we have 2 minutes until 6:50.
Okay.
Okay.
Fine.
I'm gonna start flashing this at exactly 6:50 then. The weird thing is I am not being able to see who's there. So I cannot really welcome people, and I cannot see their faces as they join, which is weird.
In the waiting room?
No, when they join.
Oh.
Too many faces.
I only see 6 right now. Let's see what happens as people join.
Oh, because you're sharing your screen, it's harder to see. Yes, that's always a problem.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult to like welcome people and at the same time flash this, which is clunky.
Well,
probably can click on participants and see them.
Can somebody else share it on your behalf so you can actually see the participants? That's another solution, possibly.
Maybe too late.
Well, we'll just do what we can do. Don't worry.
Yeah.
This,
But
and
if
the
you
whole
just click on participants, it'll pop them up each time, right?
Yeah, that could work. Are you guys seeing this participants thing on my
Mhm.
screen? On my screen?
Mm-mm.
Okay, good. Then I guess that works.
Mhm.
Hey, Emily. Good to see you.
Hi. Nice to
Hello.
see you all. Hello.
Yeah,
Thank-
good to see you.
Yeah.
Looking forward to you being the timer.
Yep, I'm all set as the co-timer.
Okay,
Or
cool.
am I the official timer? Do we know?
Guess it depends on whether Deanna shows up.
Okay.
Guess it's 6:50. I'll start presenting my poll. Carissa, can you help me out with just the links and if people have any questions on where to go and all that stuff? The code is still visible up on top, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Here in this region. Okay,
Yes.
cool. And I believe it hasn't changed, so
Yeah.
just repost it.
But
Maren, you
yeah,
have
as I say, you have to repost it in chat
Oh.
though.
Never mind, it moved over.
Yeah, I will. I can be able to post.
I'm going to start admitting people who aren't meetingers. Is that okay with everyone?
Yep, sounds good. Hello, folks. Sam, Jennifer, welcome. Welcome to PR Masters. I see people joining in. Hello, hello. So for those of you who just joined, would love to know what brings you here today. It is April Fools. It's 1st of April. So love to know. So what you can, Carissa probably just posted the link on the chat. So what you can do is you can go to the link and enter the code on the top of my screen and you should be able to vote. So it was interesting to see what brings people here. Someone has some really awesome friends. Social media, huh? Am I the only one who is in the third category? That is embarrassing for me. Come on. Someone has to be in there.
I almost picked it just so you won't be lonely, but no.
Oh, I see a lot of social media. So for those of who just voted, saw this on social media, where did you find us? Facebook, LinkedIn?
Facebook for me.
Awesome.
This is Sam.
Hey Phyllis, hey Roger, welcome to PR Masters.
I'll return in a moment. I thought this started at 7, so are you just chatting?
Yeah, we're just giving people some time to settle in. And in the meantime, if you want to go on the poll, you can. I would love to know what brings you guys here today.
All right, I'll be back in a minute.
Sounds good.
And with Phyllis here, we are now in harmony.
That's
Yep.
right. So you know.
Adam, are we voting more than once?
Phyllis, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good seeing you. It's been so long.
I know.
Hey
This is
Bill,
Sam, by the way.
Sam, hello.
So we're in a
Bill's
class.
here.
Yeah, Bill's here.
Hello.
Mr.
Hi, Mr. Bill Mayer. Haven't seen you in
Uh,
ages.
Yes, Phyllis Harmon, good to see you again.
You back in the classroom yet?
Next week, I go back as a staff person. Get this, everybody in the district is required to go to their buildings, even though when we have our staff meetings, we have to do it from our classrooms. So,
Oh, okay.
and then the following week, the week of April 12th, the students are going to start returning to the building. So,
Cool.
What do you teach?
I teach digital arts, photography, graphic design, video, and animation.
Oh, wow.
And my puppy just got something. I got to check what it's at.
Does anyone have any crazy April Fool stuff which happened today? I almost got a shocker. I can talk about it. But does anyone have anything which got them?
Didn't happen
It
to
was
me, but one of my coworkers got googly eyes put all over her office.
Anyone else got anything?
I feel like the weather was pranking me the entire day. I mean, on the East Coast, and it would be sunny and bright, and then a minute later, dark, and there's snow squalls. We had 5 or 6 snow squalls interspersed with sun. So
Where are you located again, Emily?
I'm in
On the East
Maryland.
Coast?
We've had nice spring weather, but today was spring and winter intermixed.
Yeah.
Well,
I feel
Phyllis, can you imagine what it would have been like if we'd had a small earthquake with all those googly eyes?
Oh, they've been all just moving and moving and moving. Luckily, I'm still too new at my job that they don't know what to do to me yet.
What is your new job, Phyllis?
Well, I am doing insurance verifications for Reflex Knee. They are a therapy group that does
Okay.
inspections for knees. So it's kind of cool.
That is cool. So Adam, we're so curious. What happened? Or at least I am.
So, I don't know how many of you follow the NFL or the Seahawks. So, what has been the story for the last well, I guess it's been a few weeks, almost a few months now, is our quarterback, Russell Wilson. They're saying that he's going to be traded to the Chicago Bears. And I was checking my Instagram and I saw this post. It looked completely official. It was like NFL.com and da 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 da. Seattle, Russell Wilson has agreed to uh, on a contract with Chicago Bears. I was freaking out, but then I saw it was like NFL memes somewhere down there on the corner, and I saw a lot of laugh reactions, which was like, huh, this doesn't add up. So then I was like, okay, April Fool. And it was early in the morning. I had just woken up, so I kind of caught up with things. I was like, okay, it's all good now. But I was like, oh, I freaked out. That was a major scare. So for people who do not follow the Seahawks, the gravity of the situation, you'll not be able to appreciate it. We have a star quarterback, and him leaving is like a huge deal. So that was a bit scary.
I see.
We have a few more people join in. I think that's Zaida. Hey, Zaida. Joe. Hello.
So at my class, I just got finished up teaching middle schoolers public speech, and one of the girls was late, and when she walked in, there was no homework over spring break, and everybody knew it. But when she walked in, I asked her where her homework was, and all the other kids chimed in. We turned ours in. Where's yours? And her face just went white.
What class is this? Like, is it?
I teach public speech classes in the weekends and evenings.
So is it like middle school, high school?
This one is, yeah. These are actually younger middle schools. So they're all energy all the time.
Hey, Bill, I sent you a message in private chat.
Ooh.
What's
I know,
interesting?
notes behind the scenes, everybody.
You have such a weird name tonight. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. What areas do I focus on?
I have a weird name every day.
CEC. Oh, anyway. What was it?
It's almost 7 o'clock. Let me move to another poll. Again, please. And what's really interesting is I got 0 votes for PR troubles. Let's try this one. Again, it should be the same code. Oh, let's reset this. Okay. So the link should be posted in the chat. So just go ahead and vote. Love to know what value, and this is especially like for people who have been joining in for some time. What brings you here? What value do you see in PR Masters? See a few new people join. Effie, Vivek, welcome. Welcome to PR Masters.
Hi, Adam. Good morning.
Hello, Matthew, welcome.
Adam, could I try a share screen, just a test?
Sure, let's do that.
Great.
I'm gonna stop sharing.
Okay, I guess it works. Thank you.
Yep, cool.
Great.
So it's a minute past. I think I'm gonna hand over our meeting to our Toastmaster for today, Andrea. Andrea, do you want to take over?
All right. Thank you, everybody. Welcome to Public Relations Masters Toastmasters Club. It's really great to see you all, and we have a couple of really great speakers today, and I'm really looking forward to it. The Public Relations Toastmasters meeting is set up a little bit differently than a lot of other meetings. We just have the timer roll. We don't have the counter or the grammarian, and we do have 2 evaluators for every speak. We also have 1 minute. We also have a flash follow portion, and we have a portion where we do 2 Dear PR Masters, where you can write in and ask us a question about PR, and we'll answer it for you. So those are some of the different things we do here. And now I'd like to give it to our timer to tell us what she's going to be doing today. I think we only have 1 timer. We thought we might have 2, but I think we only have 1. So Emily, tell us about your role as timer.
Thank you, Andrea. As timer, I'll keep track of all speakers' times and indicate with a green card, a yellow card, or a red card when the minimum, median, and maximum times have been achieved. Thank you so much, Andrea.
Great. And we're going to be having evaluator for our first speaker. We're going to have 2 evaluators. The first one's going to be Maren Ziba. Maren, do you know what you're going to be looking for the first speaker, David Sheehorn?
Sure. I am going to wing it right now, and then my second evaluator for David can go off of what I'm saying to decide what he's evaluating. So David is going to be talking to us about open houses. I'm super excited about that, and I am going to be looking for him providing really applicable suggestions. So how many suggestions did he have for telling us his system for doing it in his club? And then I am looking for, as an evaluation side of things versus the content side of things, is it making me want to have an open house? Is he persuading me to say, hey, that sounds great, I want to do that? And then I will also look for, is he looking at the camera? That's one of those that is super important, especially on Zoom. And so those are two things I'm going to focus on today. Thank you very much, Andrea.
You're welcome. It's Andrea, just like Marin. Okay, and we have Bill Mayer as our next evaluator for David. Bill, can you tell us what you're going to be looking for with David's speech?
Well, Marin took a lot of my thunder, but that's okay because we're from the same Toastmaster club on Saturday mornings. But I'm also going to be looking at how he is as a presenter. And is this a presenter that I feel is going to really convey the value of having open houses in Toastmaster clubs and being able to express that in more than just words? I'm assuming there's going to be some, I don't know, maybe there's going to be some presentation slides as well, and see how all of that folds together.
Thank you so much. All right, and now with that, I'm going to go ahead and introduce David Sheehorn. David's speech title is Open Up to an Open House. He's going to be having his presentation for 7 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes, and then a Q&A portion after that. So timer, can you just time him on the 5 to 7 minutes portion? And then we'll try to keep the Q&A to no more than 8 minutes. Okay, so David will be presenting open house ideas culled from the entrails of open house experiences and adventures from others Toastmasters Club. Take it away, David.
Thank you, Toastmasters. I am going to share my screen. And so everybody wants to open up to an open house, but you have to do some things ahead of time. You can't wait until the last day, the last minute to have an open house. My mouse disappeared. There we go. One of the things you want to do is find out, are you ready for an open house? And there was a club quality checklist that came out in the TI magazine last year, and I made a tiny URL for it. But you want to find out what you're doing good, what you're doing bad, and what is ugly that needs to be fixed. Our rules have changed since early January of 2019, but we have to adapt. Once you go over the checklist and worked it over with the executive committee, then you are ready to work your open house. Here's a couple of ideas, 116 ways to recruit new members. Some of them are good, some of them are not so good, some of them are whimsical. For instance, they suggest hiring a blimp. Well, not everybody can afford to hire a blimp, but there's 116 different ideas there, and I've applied a couple of those to various open houses. We had an open house in December, and we had one March 30th. And we've added 7 new members since January 1st. One of our first things that we like to do is contact the former members, guests, and prospects. And with the website that we use with Free Toast Host, it makes it easy to do that. But then you need to challenge everybody to send an email to one person. You know, a mother, a brother, a sister, a sibling, aunts and uncles. You know, send at least one email out to everybody. Stop somebody on the street. I did that the other day. I stopped them on the street and they said, no, I'm not working. I said, then you need to come to an open house. It didn't work, but I tried anyway. There's also some free advertising. If there's a business journal in your area, like the Portland Business Journal, maybe there's a Beaverton Business Journal, give it a try. You know, it's free. You can post in their events. Your club opening page, the home page, needs to have interesting information on it. It needs to have a couple of pictures. And also it needs to change once a week. And I'll talk about that a little bit more later. Your calendar event, why don't you add in all the contests and the TLI and the conferences? Make sure your directions are correct. If you have an area director or division director that can post it on the event calendar. That's a good thing also. And you know, I'm not an expert on social media, but I use Facebook, LinkedIn, and Nextdoor is one that I'm exploring now. Nextdoor is your community that's around you. So I'll leave it up to somebody else to talk about social media. One of the things that I liked about what we did last year was we start planning ahead. So when are the 5th meetings of the month? Those are free meetings. So dedicate those to guests. Have a somebody working on a level 4, level 5 project, and they can co-chair the meetings, the open house, and one of them does advertising, one of them does logistics. It makes it all pretty easy to work with. Nobody is overwhelmed. You share the load, and you can predict ahead of time how often that's going to happen. Unfortunately, February, it doesn't have a 5th meeting of the month, except in leap years. So club expertise, you know, we use Zoom, we use Slack, we got Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, Skype, GoToMeeting, all of these things. I was using GoToMeeting 20 years ago, and it's still around. But I'd like to see everybody find out who your experts are. You probably have hidden talent, so check out and see who can work on which. I got a chance to go to Clark County Public Health Department and do an online seminar during their show and tell month or show and tell week. So I put on a seminar for an hour, working with one of their employees who happens to be a member of our club. Write up your own flyer, but there's a lot of pre-printed flyers that are out there, but go with the flow. There's a lot of them to look for. I made a tiny URL for that one. These slides will be available. I'll send them out and so I can post them. But there's some new flyers that are out that has an appeal, you know, so it has different appeal for different people. And they're worthwhile. You can fill them in, put your open house on it. And you can also make up your own. I make full sheets, half sheets, and quarter sheets, and people pass them out, post them on their bulletin boards, whatever works. They're cheap to make. They get the message out. We've had several people approach the open houses just from having picked up one of those sheets. So now talking about why you need to change your front page on your website. Go out to George Marshall's search engine optimization. That's one of the things they recommend is make changes often. When Google makes their findings about which clubs or which activities to go to, they look for things that have changed, and it's very easy to find out a change date with a little bit of work. And then also you could promote a Speechcraft online program. It only costs $50 and you can have 5 people trained. So you can promote that. And how do you get $50? Well, one thing you can do is hold an open house between now and June 30th and you get $50. Look at that, free money. You can also do the business cards. And I created these a long time ago, but they're easy to pass out, and it's one card for every officer, and then you can fill in the individual's name down below. I use Avery Design and Print online because it's fast, it's cheap. You can also use the business cards from TI to make it more official looking. Snacks, everybody wants to do the snacks when you're doing it in person, but we know how that works if you're online. One other thing to think about is whose job is it to bring guests to club meetings so that they can see the benefits that Toastmasters offers? Well, who do you think? Everybody. That's a part of the Toastmasters oath. We all took that. Buddy up with every guest. So you want to have somebody that paired with, shared with, and cares for. So all buddies work with every guest. So every guest has a buddy to work with, somebody that can pull out the wallflower and the wildflower. Every meeting ends with an ask. And I don't have all the answers because I don't know all the questions. What are the questions? What ideas do you have? I know that moved fast. There was 18 slides. So what do you think? Open for questions.
David, of all the things you showed, what's the biggest bang for the buck?
I think getting some ideas, that 116 different ideas was the most effective. for me, because I picked up 3 or 4 ideas that worked. Open house in December, we had 2 people that we signed up, but they signed up for January. So we had another open house this week, and we got 5 more members within from ones that had been guests before, and they came to the open house and they signed up. So, 7 members in 3 months is pretty good. That's the best we've ever done. I think the search engine optimization was another thing, is it more people found us more often. And I think that's key right there, is having people search on the web and see your name come up for your club, and they go out there and they send you an email and you're off and running.
David, Vivek here. So how do you suggest for a corporate club? We'll have some restrictions. So how does this work for a corporate club?
I'm not quite understanding.
So how does this work for a corporate club? We'll have some restrictions, right? So how do we manage this PR for the corporate clubs? Maybe like conducting an open house or
well, so an open house is just an event, just like any other that you would have. One of the things we do for the open house, we have 1 speaker, 2 evaluators, and lots of table topics. So, but it depends on the length of your meeting. Some meetings are hours, some are hour and a half, some are 2 hours.
I have a question. Do you, how do you get them to sign up that day? Like, what do you do to get them to, do you say, are you going to sign up, or what do you exactly do?
Okay, on our web, normally we would hand out a guest packet when they walk in the door, and they'd have that, and it has a membership application. You can't do that when it's online. So what I've set up is a guest packet in the public accessible files area, so public downloads. And so it has all of the little things that I used to put into a guest packet, and they're downloadable right away. And the membership application has already been filled out, and it has my name on it for the references, so I get credit for that individual. So everybody who's joined this year, I've got credit for. But I filled it out. I put it on the website. There it is. They just download it. We do, and doing the payments, we do the payments online. We use the Square. And so the treasurer just calls them up, gets a credit card number, and it's done. We've had people sign up and membership application filled out, everything online within an hour. So I think having the ask at the end helps.
But what do you say exactly?
Well, depends on the person, but basically I make it gentle. I say, we had one guy who showed up for 18 meetings before he joined, and he joined and he gave 2 or 3 speeches, and then he got a promotion, and he then went to another shift, so he had to leave our meeting. So, but he's still a Toastmaster. He's still active, and he's in the contest. So he's a good speaker, good baritone voice. You'll hear about him in the future, I'm sure. But you have to do the ask. You have to tailor it to the person. You might say something to a wallflower that's different than you would say to a wildflower. But basically tell people what the benefits are. And one of the other things we do is in our profile, we talk about, that's on our website, we talk about something that Toastmasters has done for you, or something you're hoping that Toastmasters will do for you. So our public profile always talked about Toastmasters. I'm a coach club for a club in Bend, and I looked at their profile, and I was really surprised. Everybody talked about who they were. They didn't talk about Toastmasters. So the first thing I said, talk about Toastmasters in your profile. Doesn't make any difference where it's the beginning or the end, but talk about Toastmasters. Get that profile advertising for you. It's cheap. It's an easy way to do it. And everybody has a story. So put your story out there about Toastmasters. Oh, buddy system. To be a mentor, you have to go through advanced mentoring, but you can be a mentor after you've just taken the first introduction to mentoring, and you can work with somebody. So I say anybody who's done level 2 and finished the intro to mentoring, they're eligible to be a buddy. anybody who's finished the next level of mentoring, which is what I call basic mentoring, they can walk somebody through one project. And then when you do the advanced mentoring, you're committed for 6 months. So a buddy gets people started. Anybody who's been through level 2 knows how to get somebody started. And I make sure that everybody has a opportunity to become a buddy to the person they want. And the guest has a buddy, but they get to determine who's their buddy after they become a member. If they want somebody else, that's fine. And if it's not working, you know, we switched around buddies every now and then.
Well, thank you very much, David. Did anyone else have any questions?
I know that was a lot of material, but I'm passionate about open houses.
Yeah, that's really exciting that you've been able to add 7 members since January. That's amazing. Thanks for sharing.
Okay.
All right. So now I guess let's move on. Let's do a minute for evaluations for David. Everyone gets a chance to do a written evaluation for David in the chat, is what I understand, right?
Yeah, personal chat. I don't want everybody seeing everybody else's
Okay, we can just do it personally to David.
Yeah.
And the way you do that, if you don't know, is to just click on his window and click on chat in the 3 dots.
That's 1 minute.
Thank you. All right, next up we have our second speaker. It's going to be Matthew, or wait, sorry. Sorry, where am I? Our second speaker is Zeta O'Connor, of course, I knew that. And we have 2 evaluators for Zeta. We have Matthew and we have Miranda. So Matthew, can you tell us what you're going to be evaluating Zeta on?
Absolutely. Zeta's speech is titled Networking Etiquette. The project that she is working on gives an opportunity for someone to practice the skills needed to present content to an audience that might not be familiar with it. To do this, she needs to present on her topic in a way that keeps us engaged. So I'm going to be looking for engagement by her to the rest of us, and I'll be looking at all of us looking at her.
Thank you, Matthew. Our next evaluator is Miranda Moy. Miranda, can you tell us what you'll be looking at in Zeta's speech? You're muted.
Sorry, I'm just getting the form open, honestly. So can you come down back to me? I'm sorry, I'm not quite ready.
Sure, no problem.
Thank you.
I'll take a moment to talk about the value of PR Masters, because this is our 3rd demo meeting and we are looking to charter. So I think David had some great points. What has PR Masters done for you already? And what do you hope it will do for you? For me, it's bringing a whole bunch of people together who are very motivated, I've noticed. So I'm really excited to be around all these people who are on fire. And it's bringing me extra enthusiasm into my life. And so I'd encourage you to think about what is it going to bring for you? Are you going to learn something about PR that you hadn't thought of before? Are you going to get some new ideas about how you could be getting the word out about your public relations in your club. And so Miranda, are you ready yet to talk about what you're going to be evaluating Zeta on?
My computer is not obeying me. I'm trying to open these attachments and it's open Dave's, but not Zeta's. Trying again. Well, in that her speech is going to focus on research, certainly covering points about how she's conveying information that might be unfamiliar to perhaps me will be one of my evaluation points. And I don't want to eat up time while I'm still waiting for this form to open. I will do my best to make a positive evaluation. Thank you.
Right, sounds great, Miranda. Okay, so with that, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Zeta O'Connor. Zeta O'Connor has taught computer science courses at Antelope Valley College and College of the Canyons. She moved to Klamath Falls 3 years ago. Currently, she is retired, and she's been a Toastmaster since 2011. She loves camping, boogie boarding, dancing, and life itself. Zeta's speech is going to be 13 to 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. Zeta, how long is your speech going to be today? You're muted.
Yeah, 13 to 15 minutes.
Okay, great, excellent.
I'm just playing safe.
Okay, sounds good. All right, everybody please help me welcome Zeta.
Okay, I'm just gonna share my screen. Okay. Tonight, I'm just going to give you some networking techniques and a little bit of professional etiquette that can help us. Not only me, I'm still trying to learn the better way to network to people. So what is really networking? What is etiquette? I don't have to explain too much on this because I know everybody knows about it. As for me, I always call it good manners and right conduct. It's not a law that if you don't do it, you go to jail. There's no such a thing, rules and regulation, but etiquette is just a way of doing things on the right place at the right time. And networking is just building up people that we know or everywhere we go, any gatherings, meeting, conferences, and just expanding our network. When you are a member of LinkedIn, you are really expanding your network, even Facebook or any other type of social media. Nowadays, social media is very common. So what are the objectives of this speech? Of course, I just wanna give you some information or tips that can impact your networking activities in everyday life. It's kind of hard nowadays because we don't have an in-person event. A lot of our event and conference and meeting are online, but still we can improve something out of this speech that I'm delivering to you guys. And how do you determine your professional networking? It could be a personal networking people that you have in your list, and some key points that would make us and show some powerful image. What are those powerful images that we can relay online or in person? Of course, to empower us by learning, practicing whatever we learn. There's always room for improvement. And to create a habit, sometimes it takes about 30 days doing the same thing over and over again, then it becomes habit. Because sometimes we learn something, but we forget about it. And I'm number one, very forgetful until I practice a lot. And for what I know, according to research, it takes 10,000 hours to be an expert of one thing. So we are an expert of brushing our teeth because we've been doing it since we were born, just an example. And some of the effective networking tips is like keep and maintain a list of people. Do you still keep a list of people that you know? There might be, as for us, we are a very small club. Who can we invite in our Toastmaster meeting? Do we have a list of people that you think would be a good prospect? And as we meet these people, we create a list. You kind of write down, and this person loves flowers, something, qualities that you are attracted to this person. And what else? You prioritize. What is the priority of your networking activity? Is it for your own business, home-based business? Is it for Toastmaster? Is it for any personal connection or something? You have a common ground. Maybe you guys believe in other organizational team. It could be like people who love sports, who loves camping. So it all depends. You prioritize it. So all your network, people in your network list could be falling in a separate category, but still you can contact them. If we, especially I'm promoting now the open house in our club, that we really need this. So how do you keep your network? Keep that relationship. You may not, that person may not be interested in Toastmaster, or maybe may not be interested in whatever you do. What you want to network with this person and be willing to help. Exchange your, hey, you know what? I know you're looking for somebody to clean your house. I know somebody. I can help you on that. And I know you are looking for somebody who is really good in graphic design. I know somebody. So it's not only all about us. We have to show interest also in them. My philosophy when I was teaching is people don't care how much you know until you show how much you care. So show some caring. And for one thing I learned, I used to have a home-based business. People will do business with you because they like you. Sometimes you can tell them the wrong thing, but they like you anyway. So they'll do business with you. And especially in our club, in our Toastmaster, we have a lot to offer. This is the organization that can train people for almost free, except our membership do. And leadership, we're not only, people think when the first time I heard Toastmasters, like I thought it's all about talking. Really, it's training me to listen more, because not every meeting I'll be talking like this. So I'm listening more. We need to show interest in others. Show that you're interested. Hey, you love camping? Oh, you know what? Find that common ground to network with people. It's not all about our interest. It's also their interest. What do they want to do? Where do you want to go? Do you want to go to the beach? Oh, sometimes I go there too. But now with COVID-19, we cannot meet in person and join them, but just show interest. Like I said, in many ways, in various ways, find that common ground. Maybe that person has 2 kids, love to talk about her kids. Even though I don't have kids, I have grandkids now. But you can talk about, there are people who love to talk about their kids and their grandkids, and who love to talk about their knitting, crocheting. I don't crochet, I don't knit. Or anything that you can find that common ground just to show interest. So one of the thing is communicate. You learn to communicate to that person. Maybe you are in a gathering, maybe in a birthday party, or your family, which is mainly is a small group nowadays, or maybe in a meeting like this, virtual meeting. Tell them what you need. You know, by the way, I'm looking for someone who are really interested in learning more about public speaking or leadership or other things. In that way, that other person knows what you need. And what about you, where you are at? You know, ask some question that would trigger that person. And what do you love to do? Oh, I love to cook. Oh, really? I love to eat. You know, something like that. Just be consistent. If it's in the social media, you meet somebody and you think you have something in common, just keep posting. Maybe, you know, every other day, and show that you are interested in her post, not only scrolling down. That if you target that person. I don't really answer everything in Facebook, but I do have some target people that I communicate with, and it could be 5 of them, then because we have a common ground. That's the only way that we can build up relationship. Sometimes it takes time. So what else? You know, I joined professional. I joined the Filipino American Association. I joined the walking club. I joined the Zumba club, anything. I do Tai Chi club. I do Tai Chi. So sometimes it really helps. Does it help all the time? No, but being out there, putting ourselves out there is another networking tip. And keep asking questions. Hey, what do you do? And just, you know, making people to like you. You know, you don't have to be somebody else, just the way you are. People will like you and show interest to them. You know, what else do you do besides Zumba? And then they start talking. You won't believe it, just one question. People love to tell stories. And don't forget to say thank you all the time. If a person that you invited to our Toastmaster club meeting and they show up, send them a note. Hey, by the way, thank you so much for attending, you know, and just a simple thank you really helps. And that would motivate that person. When a person tell me like that, you know, I was in the first time I attended a Toastmaster, one of the person there in the club, I said, yeah, you know what? Thank you so much. Oh, send me a note, got my phone number, and send me, thank you so much. I'm so excited what you shared today. Encourage them. You know, thank you can go a long way. Now, how do you maintain it? How do you maintain your list? These are some of the questions, you know, per number, you score 1 if the answer is yes. And I'm not gonna go through in detail, but, you know, are you confident with your network? Then, you know, does that person know who real you? What are you? What do you represent? And then if the answer is yes, then you put 1 in your list. Does your contact willing to challenge your ability or support you? And to know this, you have to ask that person, have a conversation. You know, you may not be very direct, but you can feel that this person is willing to support you. But in exchange, you want to support that other person too, that other network. So is this person, do you want a vibrant and dynamic person? Not all of your contacts will be in that category, but you kind of categorize them and see, oh, okay, this is the one, it looks like a very strong contact. I'm going to contact this person. So prioritize them. But I don't know, I used to keep a list of people in a spreadsheet. And since I'm retired, you know, I'm not that motivated now, but I'm only motivated in Toastmaster. Before I got so many things going on in my life. But I love expanding my network. Hey, do you love leadership or do you want to improve your speaking skill? I can help you on that. Anyway, you know, you need to maintain your relationship with that person. As for me, I rather have maybe a few friends than having a lot of friends that does not support me. But I love, there's what you call acquaintances. You just know them. And there's what you call friends that you can call them at 12 midnight when your car breaks down. And I have a few of those real friends that I have that I can call at midnight and say, hey, you know, I broke down here, and they will come and get me. Or there are other people you just can't, you know them. You just know them from somewhere, but you never had a lot of contact with them. But if you decided maybe 10 people, these 10 people it looks like it's my very strong network. then call them, have a conversation, or email them a short email. Hey, how are you? How are you doing? That's how you maintain it. Just maintain that contact. It doesn't matter if it's a short, if you know the phone number, hey, how are you doing today? Or just send an image. I always like to send an image, like a funny face or anything, you know. So how do we, another way when you meet in person, which may not happen, it may happen. And one thing that I learned is credible communication, eye contact. Even online, we can have an eye contact like this. So just to build up that appearance. And you don't have to dress up $100 suit to be credible. It's just being a business-like, it doesn't matter what you wear. Most of my clothes are from Goodwill. So some people question me, hey, you have to dress up all the time. No, just go to Goodwill and buy some suit there. But anyway, you wanna show the positive appearance to people, even online. And be careful when you meet people because what you're trying to show, or maybe the noise from the people around in the house. Thank God we're only two in the house plus my dog, but my dog likes to bark, so I always do my video here. So there are a lot of when the appearance communicates a lot, especially in person. It could do also online. What are you trying to portray about yourself? You don't have to be not you. You can be just being you. Now, when you do the self-introduction, don't just introduce yourself right away when you are like, I'm talking about in person. When you are in person, I used to bring a lot of business cards back in the old days, and I realized business cards sometimes is not very effective. Uh, but the most effective way for me of networking is talking to people, finding that common ground. I remember an example, the, the director of music in Washington State University, where I used to work, asked me that he would like to have a choir, university choir, but I said, I can barely sing. You are talking to the wrong person. And he said, oh, by the way, what about if I teach you how to sing for half an hour at lunch hour? Would you recruit people? So we started like about 6 of us. In a year or so, a few months later, we were already 50 because 5 of us who started, we are committed to talking to people about the choir. So that's the networking that we did. We produced more than 50 members of the university choir instead of, but it takes a relationship. We invite them over and but we already know them because we all work in the university. But it's just a matter of being who you are and being excited. People wants to join you if you're joyful and excited. Hey, by the way, we're gonna have lunch and we're gonna do this. We're gonna practice. Come on and join us. We're gonna practice for Christmas, by the way. And they come. And I think there's almost 100. By the time I retire, and it only started me that I can barely sing, but I think he saw the gift in me that I like to talk to people. So that's where I played. Now, how do we doing the mingling, which not possible right now, break the ice and all of this thing you guys already know. Some people, they when you tell jokes, be careful. Some people, they just tell jokes. Just be polite, be kind. It doesn't cost a penny to be kind to people. Even though sometimes you're in a grocery store, and you're not very happy, just be kind. Sometimes it's really worth it to be kind. And if you've forgotten someone's name, don't ask, hey, do you remember me? You know, you can get away from that saying, hey, uh, I think I remember your name, or sometimes I get away with it. And I think I remember I've seen you in another party. Just find a way to be a little more polite than being blunt, I would say. I'm sorry. I need to go back. Okay, well, anyway, when you buy a business card, I missed that screen and I don't want to mess up myself. Anyway, how do I go back? No, it's okay. When you give your business card, a lot of people, they just give it. And if you are the recipient, I'm more particular about the recipient, try look at the card and show interest. That's how you show interest on people. Look at the card. Don't just stop it in your purse for women, or just, you know, for a guy, just put it in the pocket. Look at the card. Hey, that's really interesting. This is what you do. And, you know, I think we got something to talk about. And that's already a conversation. You're building up your network. So it's not all about us, but, you know, just when you give your card, and you know, you can't control that, but when you are the recipient, you can take control of that and saying, wow, I like this, you know, just about 10 seconds. And then when she's not or he's not looking, you can write a note in the back of the card. What triggers you with that person? What do you like the most about that person? What comes out in the conversation, so you don't forget? You know, that's usually I've done that before. I'm not going to never give business card in private gathering. You know, I'm not going to go through that. Now, mainly the conclusion. Okay, networking and etiquette are very important tools in our personal life, in our business, in our club, mainly Toastmaster, and it can put us into a competitive advantage, because there are a lot of organizations nowadays who, you know, they don't offer what we offer. And I think Toastmaster is a really uh, very beneficial organization to everybody who join it. I hardly belong to an organization, but when I joined the Toastmaster Club, I learned a lot. Until now, I'm still learning. You might think I'm retired, I'm still learning. There are a lot of things for me to learn until I die. So it does. It's really important for us to network, not only for our personal gain, not only for the organizational gain, but it does impact our personal life. For people who are still in their career, it will be a big help to them. Since I'm done with my career, I'm retired, but my personal life, it really helps me a lot. You know, I learned to work in a team. I learned to be a better leader. I learned to be a better mentor. And I met such wonderful people in Toastmaster. It's the club that I met. You know, the Facebook people is nothing in comparison with Toastmaster people. So it will give us, you know, my goal and objective for our club is to add more members, because we are a very small club, and I would like to help that club to have more members. So I'm expanding my
Thank you,
network.
Zeta. Thank you so much. You
I
really
cannot see the timer. Sorry about that. Okay,
no
so
problem.
these are just I call it a modus operandi. You know, there's a 5-second rule, mastering your image, and just doing the same action that you want to develop for the next 30 days, and will create a habit. It's a very valuable tool,
Thank you,
networking.
Zeta. I'm going to have to cut you off. I'm really
Okay,
sorry,
thank
but
you.
we want to make sure everybody gets a chance to have their
Thank you.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you, too. All right, everybody, let's take 60 seconds and give Zeta our feedback for her directly to Zeta.
That's 1 minute.
Great. Okay, these really enjoyed both of the speakers today and the such good tips. I really especially love talking about care. People don't care how much you know until until they know how much you care. That really stuck out to me, and I want to use that. So let's talk again about what is the value of public relations masters to you? Anybody here want to say something about what it's brought to you so far in our 3 meetings that we've had? Go ahead, Adam.
So beyond just the presentations and the tips from the meetings, for me, it has been more about the community. So I think of it as like a mastermind of people who kind of have my back in case I'm really new to PR overall. I'm the PPPR for my club, and just having this community of people, mastermind, kind of brainstorm ideas, give you ideas, feedback, suggestions as you try to tackle challenges in your club. That community, that engagement, that has been the biggest blessing for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. That's great. I appreciate it. Yeah, so if you want to sign up, we have a brand new website that is now in the chat. And yeah, it's been really helpful for me to use the Facebook page and ask questions and get answers right away. It's really cool. So next up, it is April Fool's Day, so I fooled you all and I skipped the flash follow and the flash like. So we're gonna do that now. Okay, I'm handing it over to Adam to talk about the flash follow. Tell us what that is, Adam.
Thank you, Andrea. Hello again, this is Adam back on the virtual podium. So for some of you who probably listened into Eric's speech last month, and for those of you who were not there, you missed out big time. But fortunately, it's up there on YouTube, so go check out the recording. So it was about creating a LinkedIn page from scratch for your club. And one of the things which really stood out for me was when it comes to getting followers, what Eric told us was that you really got to check your ego at the door and just ask people like, hey, I need some love. I need some followers. Like I made a brand new page. Can you please like my page? And think of it as like every time you start a new Facebook page, LinkedIn page, whatever, right? It's kind of like starting your own business. It's kind of like a startup, right? And one of the things which they tell you in the startup and entrepreneurship community is your first customer or your first investor are your friends and family. And guess what? In this PR Masters, we are your Toastmaster friends and family. So in case you have started a brand new Facebook page, LinkedIn page, and you need that initial push, the initial burst of members to kind of follow, comment, like your page, this is the forum, and that is what is Flash Like. So I presented at the Flash Like event in the last meeting, and I gained, I think, around 14 or 15 LinkedIn followers right off the bat, around 4 to 5 Facebook followers. So yeah, it's a great way to really kickstart your social media, Facebook, LinkedIn follow. And overall, this engagement has a lot of long-standing benefits about, I mean, there's a lot of reports, studies about how the amount of engagement really boosts your, like where it appears in your, like the LinkedIn feed, visibility, so on and so forth. And we can talk about it later. With that, I would like to hand it over to Eric Wenger. Eric, take it away.
Thank you, Adam. Adam said almost everything. The only thing I would compare this next tiny little segment is to the flash mob. If you remember the flash mob from a few years ago, it was a big trend. People would gather randomly together and do something for a little bit and then go back to their business. This is a flash follow. And in the link, you will notice there is a LinkedIn link to a company, 71073622. Now that number may not mean anything to you, but it does mean something to me because that is my home club page. And I would love it right now if you could, oh, it's even a better link. Holy cow, who did that? If you could go to that link, and if I'll even share my screen very briefly, but if you can go to it and if you could follow it, I would be most eternally grateful. In fact, if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, you can do that as well, and I'll follow your page back. So I'm hoping to get a few followers out of this. Clicking the link will get you to something you see there. I want to keep the meeting moving, so you can do this in your leisure. Connect with me, connect with Silicon Forest Toastmasters. I'm going to turn it back over to our Toastmaster, Andrea.
Thanks, Eric. I can't follow your page because I've already followed it. And I'm already connected to you. So that's cool. I'm glad. And I've been getting a lot more people on LinkedIn with from doing this group. So everybody else, it's a great way to get more friends and get more likes, get more comments, get more love. All right, so next up we have our evaluation portion of the meeting. So next we're gonna have our first evaluator of our first speaker, and that is Marin Ziba. Everybody welcome Marin for her great evaluation.
Thank you, Andrea, and thank you, David, for joining us and talking about open houses. We saw a lot of conversation around open houses in our Facebook page, and I saw David's comment, and I would love to hear more about his system for creating open houses. And I asked David to give us a lot of tips at the beginning. That was what I was looking for, was tips on how to do things well. What did the audience think? In our club, we often poll our group. So who got some helpful tips from David's speech tonight? You can just raise your hand. Oh, my screen's really slow. Okay, I see a couple hands up. So a few people got some great tips from David's speech. And I think that it's true. David, you had lots of tips in your speech. And one that stood out for me, which is one of my favorites, is planning ahead. Finding the experts and finding those hidden talents within your club. I kind of wish that that section, which you told us later on in your talk, came a little bit up front. And you may have said, hey, we needed new members and we changed our plan in January. And you might even put that result up front and say, we successfully got 7 new members in our club, and I'm going to tell you how we did it, and this might be helpful to you. Just kind of restructuring to put that exciting nugget at the beginning might really draw us into your story of how you do excellent open houses in your club. I really enjoyed that you brought up some ideas that might be considered old-fashioned, and I got called old-fashioned recently too. But paper does work, printing does work, and putting it where people can pick it up does work. So I liked that you had that in there. Not everything is about social media. And that's one thing I like about this group, is showing a range of ideas. And you did that by having a resource for us in a PDF format that got dropped in the chat that we can look at later. That's a really great speech technique, to have some tools that people can walk away with, reference, and go back to. Really great technique. I like to look at visual. So I also talked about eye contact. And I would say that you could probably work a little bit on finding that camera, but I also noticed that you're a little low in your frame. So perhaps repositioning your camera a little downward, making your head closer to the top of your screen, will help you to frame yourself within the view. I'm also not a huge fan of backgrounds, the virtual backgrounds, because when we have headphones on, one of them disappears, and I find it distracting. It's a choice, and I know people get excited by backgrounds. I think that it was great that you pointed out hiring a blimp might be unrealistic, but then you actually had really realistic ideas in your speech. I encourage you to reduce some of the words on your slides. For example, one slide had a quote. Just put the quote on there super big, and then another slide probably could just say buddy, because that word really says, hey, bring those people along with you. David, you gave me lots of tips today for how to bring open houses to my club. Thank you so much for speaking. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Marin. That was great, great evaluation, very on point. Our next evaluator is Bill Mayer, for our speaker number 1 for David Sheehorn. Take it away, Bill.
Thank you very much, Andrea. David, thank you for sharing us your wealth of information. When I learned that open house was the topic today, I gotta be honest. That topic makes me a little nervous. Stress level goes up. When I started hearing members of our club saying, we got to have an open house, we got to do this, we got to get members, we got to blah, 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 and the list starts coming, I got to take a deep breath and I got to say, this is a good thing. This is going to be for good. And you really help to show that with all of the ways that clubs can have successful open houses. If I ever get stuck in figuring out how to do an open house, you're my guy. You are my guy. You have got just a wealth of information. I'm going to say maybe a little too much. I felt a little overwhelmed. There were times when I was trying to decide, do I listen, do I read? Do I read, do I listen? Do I listen, do I read? And I have to agree with Marin a little bit that some of the points on your slides were not necessary to what you were presenting. They were good and they were wonderful. And I think probably each one of those slides could be a speech in and of itself. I like the format in that you gave what would be considered a traditional Toastmaster speech, 5 to 7 minutes, and then had a time for question and answers. And that went really well. I really appreciated the way that you answered the questions and you invited questions. You remembered to look at the chat and got the questions off the chat. And those were handled very well and in a very positive manner. And I always enjoy that because I always wonder, what am I missing, or how can I help the audience understand what it is I'm trying to present to them in a better fashion? Getting that feedback is a really positive way to do that. So that was handled very, very well. When I think about your title, be open to an open house, I kind of think, and this relates to the PR aspect of our club, when I was doing a job that was more sales than not, which as a high school teacher I do every day, I got to answer the question, what's in it for me, for my students? And I never really grasped the question, the answer to the question, why do I have to have an open house? It's a lot of work, it's a lot of pressure. What's the benefit of it? And I think you need to kind of focus a little bit more on that, as Marin said, with how many members you got and how that's such a benefit just to you personally and to the club as a whole. Thank you very much for offering us some very good points and very good advice on a very good topic of open houses for Toastmasters. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Bill. We appreciate your feedback. Next up, we have our first evaluator for our second speaker. So that'll be Matthew Douglas. Everybody, welcome Matthew.
Thanks so much. And especially thank you, Dr. O'Connor, for the speech. I'm going to give you feedback in 3 areas. And since it's April Fool's Day, I'm going to pick another random holiday. I'm going to go with Valentine's Day. So I'm going to talk to you about the areas where I got a big heart from you. I'm going to talk about some X's and O's, and then we'll finish off with a warm hug. So let's start with some hearts. For me, the heart of this speech were the anecdotes that you shared. And we got one straight out of the gate. You said, or somebody said right after your speech, people will want to join you if you are joyful, or no, hang on a second. Yeah, people who want to join, no. Where is it? People don't care how much you know until you show how much you care, right? Little gems like that. Where you talked about good manners and right conduct. You talked about joining a Zumba club or joining a Tai Chi club. Even if it didn't get you anything and networking, it was still fun. These were all heartfelt moments. They were part of a narrative story and they were a joy to listen to. I think in particular, I centered on this, people will want to join you if you are joyful. And when you said that, you had, I think, your best vocal variety and your most expressive gesture of the entire speech. The second area that I wanted to cover is the slide X's and O's. I think that anytime that you have a speech that is over 10 minutes and that has a large PowerPoint component to it, you definitely want to take a little bit of time to look through those slides, to double check them, or even to have somebody else take a look at them for you. I personally saw that there were a bunch of areas where you had inconsistencies with alignment, with punctuation, with bulleting, capitalization, those kinds of things, and they can be a little distracting. In addition, you also had some slides that you blew through. You said, you know, this is something you already know, and you had those at the beginning and also at the end of your speech. And I would just encourage you, when you find yourself doing that, that is you telling yourself, those are definitely pieces of content that can come out. And the final thing, a warm hug. I think that this speech, you could honestly just drop the PowerPoint. Number one, it's a speech about networking. But second of all, it's a speech about you as a narrative storyteller talking us through your life as a networker, the things that you have learned that are lessons that worked for you. And I would encourage you to start with an engaging question to figure out and gauge where we are as networkers. That's going to tell you which areas to dive in and which areas to drop or pull back. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much, Matthew. That was really excellent evaluation. I enjoyed the structure of it. Let's see, next up we have our final evaluator, Miranda Moy. All right, Miranda, go ahead.
Hello, dear PR masters and guests today. Dr. O'Connor, your speech was a topic near and dear to my heart. Although it wasn't a bullet point or a specific part of your title, you addressed how to overcome social awkwardness, which we all have whether we admit it or not, through a protocol of how to network. I thought your slides were helpful, and I do think you could have used a few less slides. That's bad grammar. A few slides less than you did use, because we would have been able to focus on maybe just the most important bullet points that you've distilled. What I really liked about your speech was you did share with us a wealth of information and some different perspectives. It was both technical and procedural. It's funny and wonderful to see an actual protocol for presenting business cards. You know, rather than just throw one to somebody or somebody give your card to somebody and they look away, that's really disheartening. That's happened to me. I think you addressed some heartfelt moments about your experiences as well as some gnarly points on those slides. What I would like to see you do to challenge yourself is tell us one example where you networked in a certain way and you realized it wasn't getting the result you hoped for. Not manipulation, but you wanted to have a better relationship with somebody in your field. Give us an example of something that went a certain way and how you consciously decided to change, or maybe you did something by mistake differently and you got a different result that was a better result. I would like to hear that. It's a little more vulnerable. And you, in your role as an esteemed professor, I certainly respect your students are going to sit there and listen, but I would like you to do a little bit less telling and a little bit more, maybe a question or two, and then a pause in your speech. I think I lost a little bit of engagement just because I got so absorbed in your content and your slides. So I would say to be more gripping, ask a question or two, make us think, at least for a few seconds, before you quote, give us the answer. Overall, you did provide valuable content, you provided valuable tools. I really appreciate, again, how you educated us about networking and etiquette and how to overcome social awkwardness. I won't really go on much further than that. The one thing in your slide group that I thought was very useful from a quantitative perspective was your network maintenance ratings. Thinking about people you know, I know, or I want to know, would I rate my connection with them 3, strong, 2, medium, or weak, 0 to 1. I thought that was both funny and really useful. Thank you for providing a heartfelt speech full of content. Those are my suggestions, and I really hope you'll give us again another speech. I'll make one final comment about format. I think you're both a little too far from the camera and your lighting is a little murky. And since I wear glasses too, and here I am with my ultra bright light, which may or may not be pleasing to my fellows right here, our audience, I felt like I was always seeing blue reflection in your eyeglasses. So maybe change your angle of yourself or your face or the screen itself, or change lighting so that we don't see a blue reflection in your eyeglasses. Thank you, Andrea. I'm not clapping for me, I'm clapping for you, Dr. O'Connor.
Thank you so much, Miranda. That was great. That was a very thorough evaluation. And now we have our timer report. Emily, go take it away.
Thank you, Andrea. This evening's first speaker, David, was 7 minutes, 43 seconds for his speech, followed by a Q&A of 5 minutes, 13 seconds. Zeta, your speech was 21 minutes and 31 seconds, so a bit over from the time on the agenda. Also note that there was about a 30-second lag from the time you said, I'm going to share, until you started speaking. So just maybe be aware of that and work on cutting down that lag time. Maren, your evaluation of David was 3 minutes, 55 seconds. Bill's evaluation of David was 2 minutes, 53 seconds. Matthew gave a 3 minute, 28 second evaluation of Zeta, and Miranda's evaluation was 3 minutes, 50 seconds. That's this evening's timer report, Andrea.
Thank you, Emily. Wonderful. All right, next up we have the very exciting Dear PR Masters, which is kind of like Dear Abby. And we will be having Jennifer Schmidt leading this portion of the meeting. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. As you indicated, Dear PR Masters is our version of Dear Abby. This is where we discuss a common problem that we all can relate to and could use a little advice to help solve it. What I'll do is read the Dear PR Masters question we have today, and then afterwards invite some volunteers to do a round robin discussion for some solutions to this PR dilemma. Here is the question. Dear PR Masters, I am the Vice President of Public Relations for my club, and I have done multiple posts on Facebook and LinkedIn. I use Canva and do my best to make the posts look interesting and eye-catching. But once I post something, none of my club members are liking or sharing them with other people. I really enjoy doing these posts, but I want them to be seen and useful in reaching out to new members. What can I do to encourage my club to like and share my posts in the future? Signed, All Alone and Feeling Blue in Beaverton. So, All Alone is feeling pretty blue. Who would like to volunteer in starting the round robin to help them out today with some advice for liking and sharing posts? Eric.
Thank you, dear PR Master host. I simply would say, when you are trying to get your club members to go to your club pages and share, whether it's on Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever social media it is, remember to reach out to them individually. Ask for help directly. Market to your club as you are marketing to the world. People are busy. People don't necessarily want to not contribute, but they've got a lot on their plate. So sometimes they need that gentle reminder, say, would you go out this week and like a couple of my posts? Back to you.
Thank you. Would somebody else like to help All Alone and Feeling Blue in Beaverton here?
I want to help you out with who has their hand raised.
Yes, that would be great.
Joe Dudeman, is your hand raised to answer?
I'd like to go next, Vivek here. 2 points. So one is to find the common ground, as we had a speaker telling this, and connect individually and understand, see their interest, what is their interest, why they're not liking it. So that would actually like go far, right? So to understand their interest and then maybe like tweaking our, there's an area of improvement for everyone. So if we can find the area of improvement in ourselves and then change our strategy, maybe then we can try, but we can't convince everyone, right? If you want to convince everyone, then we'll have to sell ice creams to make everyone happy. But the main agenda here is to like ensure we are finding a common ground, and without compromising on the core values of the posters, maybe we can try to bridge the gap.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Do we have time for one more, or what do you say? It looks like Matthew's hand. There's 2 more hands up. Can we do 1 or 2, Andrea?
We have time for more.
Okay. I saw Matthew first, so let's go to Matthew first.
Sure thing. I guess I would say model your posts after People magazine if you can. People magazine is structured at the very beginning. They'll have, Jennifer Garner getting coffee and whatever other celebrity walking their dog. Facebook is a platform that is designed around little people interactions, little pictures, things like that. So use that to your advantage. You're going to want to have posts that have people tagged in them so that shows up for them as ranking, as opposed to just being on a page. If you can, as much as possible, get pictures of people and generate interest that way. Posts that have pictures will get likes on them at a rate that is multiples higher than things that are just text. And strongly work on just the little pitter patter of interactions rather than printing the big article. Save that for once you have some critical mass. So I would say start with the little tiny things. Great job on your speech. Here's a picture of the person. Little things like that, and then start posting meatier items.
Thank you so much. That's great. And I saw Juanita would be next.
Just reacting back to when you're asking other people to go and comment on yours, don't just say, hey, I posted something on the website. Would you go look at it and like it? Actually send them the link so that they don't have to go looking for it, because it's amazing sometimes where it seems like it should be obvious how to find it, type it in the search. But if you give them a link, it'll make it that much quicker for them to just get right directly to where it is you want them to go, and then they can comment. But the other thing that's really important is for you to make sure that it's called social media for a reason. You're supposed to be interacting. If you just go out and post, someone just mentioned it today, you need to think about that it's a give and take. If you do your liking and commenting on other people's posts first and then post yours, you will probably get better engagement. In fact, the social media marketing gurus say that you have higher likelihood for having your thing hit other people's news feed if you have been interacting with other people's posts first before you make yours. So don't post yours and expect everybody to come flocking to yours unless you have been interacting on theirs.
Thank you so much. Is that, are we at time for
Jennifer,
this?
I think Paul has his hand up there.
Oh, I'm probably not seeing that screen, but okay. Go ahead, Paul.
Short one. Make sure it's worth sharing. Trivia doesn't turn me on. I don't pay attention to it.
Okay. It's a lot of great suggestions here. I just don't want to take too much time up for this segment. Do you want to move on?
We have a few more minutes actually.
Okay.
We have a few more minutes. So yeah, Tejas, am I saying your name right? Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Andrea. Hi, everyone. So before just going and connected to people for your post, let's try to connect them personally whenever they are giving speeches or whatever roles they are taking. On that front, if you reach out to people and have a connect to them on that personal basis, yes, you are making your way to be seen over there. Because just reaching out to people to have a like on your post or something, it's not gonna be actually motivating them to go and check your post. It's the connection which is going to make them motivate to check your post. So that's what I feel we can do.
All right. Thank you so much. I see Juanita's hand again. Did you have another comment?
Yeah, I had one other quick thing I meant to say. It also is really important to not just like. Thumbs up is actually so passé that it doesn't even register as being something that was acknowledged as, interacting. You really need to comment with 5 words or more, or use emojis that are other than the like. The like is like a nothing. So make sure you put something that is more specific than a thumbs up.
That's great. It's a lot of great tips there. And so 5 words or more. Didn't know that.
Also, I want to say something more. I'm not sure how familiar or maybe this situation is familiar with you all, but this happens that personally, when we want to share our comments or share our likes for that post or something, we have something in background that what other people think or what my fellow Toastmaster, what like the people I know think. So that's where we refrain from sharing also or commenting also. That's there. So we need to encourage people to do so, or maybe we can be that light bearer and show that how it can be done, because this is the part where it encourages. So this also happened in the background. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. A lot of great ideas here. And now All Alone and Feeling Blue won't be so blue. I think at this point, I'll turn it back over to the Toastmaster, Andrea.
Thanks, Jennifer. That was great. Yes. All right. That's so many great ideas. Really, really great tips. So now I want to talk about how important public relations masters is for us and for you. Anybody else have some thoughts on that? What have we gotten out of tonight? Some of the new people. I'd love to hear from people that I don't know, like Effie or Tejas. I hope I said your name right. Or Juanita. Yes, go ahead, Dr. O'Connor, go ahead.
Well, PR master is very important to me. It encouraged me to do better. I've been sleeping for a long time. I guess I'm retired, and I'm learning a lot for what you guys have sharing. Every time we meet, I learn something new, and it encouraged me to do it to my club too. So every time we meet, I always mention this is what I learned from last week meeting. And it makes me excited, like I said, to do better. And we haven't had an open house, so we're planning, to have an open house. We're gonna have a meeting next week and plan that. And I know whatever David has shared is very important to me. It's very useful. I like to apply some, those things, because the only open house I knew is in person, not on a virtual world. And I've done several open house, but it's kind of different on a virtual world. Wouldn't it be nice if we all see each other, meet in one room, have a coffee and tea and all the cookies, and I bring egg rolls, and those were fun, but we can't do it right now. So thank you very much for all the sharing. And I haven't started on my LinkedIn page yet for our club, because we haven't decided, what email that we need to use, because just in case I'm not the BPR anymore, somebody has to maintain that. And that was a big question. Who will maintain it when if I move on to another position or I'm not around? So it is the big question of the members, and I really appreciate you all. I'm really learning a lot.
Thank you, Zeta. I appreciate your warm energy, and you have so much vitality. So it's really been great having you here.
Thank you too.
Hey. So, oh yeah, somebody mentioned, yeah, we have 14 members so far in this club, and we need 20 to charter. So if you guys want to sign up, you can do it right now.
Make the ask.
Join us.
Please join us. Can you, Marissa, can you put the link in there again for that?
Join us, join us, join us.
Yes.
Thanks to Eric and Maren and Andrea, I'm no longer alone. I can be encouraged and suffer, not in silence, but a little bit in front of other people.
Yeah, I really appreciate the round robin thing where we all get to weigh in on with different ideas on problems people are having. That's a really cool thing that we have in this meeting. I enjoyed that today.
We could have a theme song like "We Are Family."
Andrea,
I
want to
might
jump
start
in.
singing. I can sing, and I might.
Go ahead, Eric. Go ahead.
Just real quick, I gotta say that one of the things you don't see in the meeting itself tonight is all the interaction and all the support that goes on in between the meetings. It's a support group that equals no other in Toastmasters that I've ever been a part of. And I've not, that's how it started, and it's how it's growing, and it's what keeps me coming back, because there's so many talented people in this group. Our club has generated, I don't know, 5 or 6 new members this year. And a lot of it is because of the ideas that are coming out of this group. So beautiful stuff.
Anybody else want to add something? We still have 3 more minutes, so we would love to hear your ideas. Roger, Phyllis, anybody who hasn't gotten much of a chance to talk, we'd love to hear from you.
You guys are doing great. Thank you for letting me join you tonight and work and listen to all this great information. Going back in time for me, learning about networking was really important, and I learned a lot about networking from Cleon Cox. And I went on to become a career coach, and from that I taught a lot of our clients of the value of how to go out and network properly, asking the right questions. Remember, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. That's the value in networking. You've got to plant seeds in people's head that they will refer to you when they're talking to somebody else, saying, you got to talk to Roger, you got to talk to Cleon, you got to talk to Phyllis. Those are the things you're trying to convey here when you're networking. And I'm not a PR person necessarily. I'm just an old sales puke. I work for an international airline in sales. But again, you have to build connections. You have to build the trust with your customers and your future customers. Otherwise, people won't buy from you. People love to buy from their friends. That's the number one thing I remember most from learning to sell. Thank you.
Thank you.
Andre, I believe that Paul has had his hand up for a little bit.
Oh, Paul, do you have something to share? I don't see you.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Everybody knows My Pillow. I've found that very few people out there know what Toastmasters is. The difference is marketing. Marketing is micro marketing and macro marketing. It appears that this group is very good at learning micro marketing, how to sell your club one-on-one, how to contact people, that sort of thing. But the macro marketing would make it much more easy to do the micro marketing if people really knew what Toastmasters is all about. Toastmasters headquarters does not market. They choose not to. Consequently, we're suffering. I think the micro marketing you're covering very nicely, but there needs to be some action towards bringing about a good macro marketing program so that when we go out and approach somebody, they don't say, what, Toastmasters? You mean toast with a toaster? Which is has been a reaction I've had.
Thank you, Paul. And now it's 8:30, and so the meeting is about over, but I'll let Phyllis go ahead real quick.
I am looking for an article from PR Masters for the April edition. Remember that I do have a worldwide audience, and I think that the last 2 months have gone very well. Thank you, Eric, and thank you to the New Horizon groups who are also part of this, who have sent me articles so that I can keep that going. And by the way, Adam, did you get my application?
Yes, I got it.
You did get it. Good. All right. Now you can close the meeting.
Right. Thanks, everybody. It's 8:30. It's been a great meeting. See you all next time. Join us.